Ooh, the smooth fade in the back brought my hairline back to life with the sharp edge up and the fine texture letting the waves shine. Oh, yes, sir, you did it again, and with no grease needed. Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself at No Grease Barbershop in Concord Mills, JCSU Mosaic, or Uptown Charlotte outside the Time Warner Arena, and tell them the Image Podcast sent you. It's not your ordinary barbershop. It's not what they do, it's how they do it. No Grease Barbershop. Hey, what's up, Image listeners? This week is Listener Appreciation Week. It's 1 year anniversary thanks to you. And so this week, we want to just, give you a little week to appreciate, just appreciate you listening every week. So what does that mean? That means go to sellthesis.com, click the Listener Appreciation banner, play the contest. Daily questions are announced every day for you to win the grand prize from the Image Podcast on Friday, July the 4th. So play starting June the 30th and keep playing. Find out what the question of the day is and keep playing. Keep getting the points. Also, for Listener Appreciation Week, if you go to sellthesis.com, click Listener Appreciation banner, we can dedicate a show to you. Ask me, Bennie Williams III, a question that you have about building your brand, and I will answer it and dedicate the show to you. I'm doing this all week long. That's a show for every day, and that's just for you because I appreciate you. Thank you. And also, I hope you enjoy the show today.
You're now listening to the Image Podcast,
where we just don't talk about image. We talk about building your brand image. And welcome to the Image Podcast. But we just don't talk about image. We talk about building that brand image as a college student or as just a person that people will notice, want, and love. And good night, good morning, good evening. Hello, what's up? It's me, your host of the show, Bennie Williams III, and I need everybody. Just this music says it all today. This music says it all. I don't know. This is my first time hearing the song. This is Jennifer Lopez featuring Pitbull. We Are One. And you know what? This music, I'm gonna tell you why I had this jamming. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, this music not only does it just jam, but I'm gonna tell you why I have it jamming. If you don't know, which you should know, why wouldn't you know? It's World Cup time. It's World Cup. The World Cup, which is where all not all, but countries come together to play international soccer for the Grand World Cup title, FIFA. And so, I'm just looking at, and I'm enjoying the sport because I actually love soccer. First off, I like soccer, but I gotta say this year, the World Cup has been promoted and marketed and to a higher level than past years. I mean, it's out there everywhere you turn. The World Cup is in your face. If you do not know what the World Cup is by now, you're listening under. I can't believe you're listening to the show because you're living under a rock. I mean, whether you watch the World Cup or not, you have to know what's going on. You have to know that the teams. It's a very competitive year. It's very competitive. I loved watching the game. I don't even have a team to go for. Somewhere behind the athlete, you've become the hours in practice. That's a quote I live by. Somewhere behind the athlete, you've become the hours of practice. A quote by Mia Hamm, who's ironically a soccer player. Isn't that ironic to match the subject? And so I lead in that today's topic, today's discussion. Just looking at the World Cup, here are 5 things. I've been watching. I don't want to just bore you, with a whole bunch of lists, but 5 lessons for just, people in general with the brands that are building their brands that you can learn from the World Cup. Social media, because social media wise they're killing. As you know, we're in a day of age where social media is the news. Instagram, Twitter, they are CNN. Facebook maybe maybe they may be NBC. No, but these social media sites are buzzing, and the World Cup is buzzing with them, with the social, with Instagram, with Twitter, with Facebook, with YouTube. So here are my list of what you can learn from the World Cup. Number 1, you like how I do intro that right there. Number 1, anyway. But let's get into the first one though. The first one that I had, obviously, that just pops out to my head is brand consistency. It's everything. Brand consistency. So as we talk about building a brand people are not only going to notice, but building a brand they're going to want, and then building a brand image that they're going to love. One thing you have to be on top of is consistency. And as we're going to let's just focus on social media today, as the World Cup does. But whether it's on Twitter or Instagram, you have to have yourself flowing throughout the day, consistent. Don't just post on Mondays. Don't just post on Tuesdays, Thursday, a few days. Every day you have to be hitting it. Every day you need to be out there really posting, really showing what your brand's about, showing the people who you are, what you represent. That is consistency. And one thing I've noticed from the World Cup is they're everywhere. In some way, in some subtle way or some big way, they're everywhere. I mean, not only just to say that there are 33 official Twitter accounts for the participating teams. I mean, wow. And I mean, you have the teams participating, so they're going to tweet about the different World Cup things going on. Also, if that's not enough, ESPN has a World Cup site of its own. So, I'm once again going back to the World Cup, but the different parts that they're being consistent and hitting you at. They're not just hitting a little bit of the surface. They're going deep. They're everywhere you see it. I go on Google every day. Google has some kind of cool animation of something going on. They're hitting you with the World Cup. It's branded hashtags of the World Cup. You need to have, to build that brand, we want to have a consistent brand. We want to have something that hits several different avenues. So you say, Benny, I don't have 33 official teams, Benny. How am I going to push it? You have different aspects of your brand that you keep consistent. If you're a beautician, you have several different aspects of what you do. If you do makeup, hair, and nails, you could be tweeting, Instagramming, YouTubing different things about the makeup, about the hair, about the nails, all in one day or throughout the several different ways. Have a blog dedicated to each one of those. That's how you keep it consistent. That's how you build it onto different things. But going back to consistency, really pushing that out there. For World Cup, the top trends World Cup is as a major hashtag. Brazil, being as there, it's one of the biggest things. This is why I say it's the number one lesson that I've learned from the World Cup. And I'm not just with you to talk about them. I'm with you. I'm learning as well. Let me put that out there first. Because I didn't start, but I'm learning these as well. I'm learning like, hey, Benny, you need to take some notes. And as I talk about having the different aspects, number 2, that's going to be my, whether it's lame, corny, I don't care. You know what? That's for you. You know what? If you have little side comments, that's for you to have in your room, your little side comments. But anyway, moving on to number 2, I realize how each member of the team matters. Each member of the World Cup matters. So you're wondering what in the world you're talking about. I'm talking about the fact that each part of each aspect of your brand matters. I noticed from the World Cup, many of the FIFA players had their own social media accounts. So they're posting, they're posting about the World Cup. They're putting out different things. They're posting pictures of Brazil. They're posting different things of the World Cup to make people watch. You have players that aren't even in the World Cup posting about the World Cup. Isn't that just amazing? People that, so each part of your brand aspect matters. For me personally, I put myself out there. So I talk about branding. I have Sell the Sis Network. If you don't know, listen to the podcast on Sell the Sis Network. Sell the Sis Network is a network, branding network that helps you build an image that people will notice, want, and love. So one of the aspects that we have under the brand is Wake Up Your Senses with Mind of a Warrior. Now, she puts out blogs 3 times a week. Each member of the team matters. I'm daily posting stuff about Wake Up Your Senses. I'm daily posting something about the Image Podcast. Why? Because each member matters. You can't just I can't just focus on the Image Podcast. Then I'm losing. I'm not putting, or same vice versa for Wake Up Your Senses. She's posting information about what's going on. So once again, it links back to Sell the Sis. And I don't know if I'm going too fast, if I'm talking too fast, or maybe you're just listening too slow. But I hope you're getting the message. I hope you're starting to see the artwork to the art. I hope you're starting to see the paint flow to the art now. Are you with me? Are you with me? That's number 2. Each aspect of your brand matters. As I look at the World Cup, each part matters of what they're doing. The food matters. The sightseeing matters. The tourists matters. They're taking pictures. It matters because it's not just an event, but it's an experience. Your brand has to be an experience no matter what you have. You can be an accountant and still be an experience. Give your people experience of how you get through certain things, how you do daily things. As a style, and I love my fashion people. As a fashion stylist, the experience of what clothes feel like, right? These are 5 things that I'm just spreading the knowledge for you. These are 5 things that I'm learning from the World Cup that I love, that I'm like, man, I've got to start getting better at. I got to start putting out for the world, for you to, as a college student, to see, right? As a graphic designer, the experience of having different colors, it's not each aspect matters. So each aspect of what you do matters. Don't just, you might do that. It might be part, you're a culinary student. Yeah, you might cook, you might do breakfast, but your main thing is dinner, right? But breakfast still matters. Still show people showcase your skills of how you kill you just whipping it up in the kitchen. You just have those eggs going back and forth down the line. The pancakes are flipping. You're getting it. Each aspect matters. Number 3. The more content you create, the better. Let me say that one more time. I don't think you heard me. I don't think you heard me. The more content you create, the better. So the more that you're putting out there, the more people can see, the more people can to take you as a resource as we build this brand. I keep saying brand. Why am I saying brand? Because you are a brand, baby. You are a brand. You are what you believe in, what your morals are, what you think, how you act in public, what you're doing right now. You are a brand. So as we take your brand, we take the image, we're going to build, like this show says, we just don't talk about image. We talk about building building the image. So the more content you create, the better. The majority of teams participating in the World Cup this year are on Twitter. The majority of them are on Twitter. Like I said, 33 official Twitter accounts from the teams. Come on now. Do you understand what I'm saying now? That means that's a lot of engagement. That's a lot of engagement. That's a lot of things going down. And the teams are putting stuff out. Not just the teams, but because you have the committee of the World Cup putting stuff out. But you have everybody. You have everybody's talking about the World Cup. Instagram pictures are just popping beautiful scenes. Once again, the experience. So the more content that you can put out about your brand, the better it is, because more we can learn more now. We can learn more about the experience, about the whole aspect of what you do, as whether whatever you may do. You could be a graphic designer. The more content that you put out, I have a friend, she does painting. She's killer, but she puts out daily paintings. Why? Because at first I was like, is she that good, or maybe she's just good on those kind of paintings? But daily she's putting out a lot of content of her different paintings. Why? So you can see her skill. So you can see the true skill of what she's got going on. Let the people know what you do. Don't just talk. Don't whisper about it. Yell about it. Number 4. Don't spread yourself too light. Now, what are you saying, Benny? What are you saying? I'm saying, what's the best way to put this? Okay, understand the social media aspect. Understand the social media game. I was doing some research looking at the World Cup, and I realized they only have a presence on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, YouTube. Let me say that again. They only have a presence on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That's it, folks. I bet y'all can't guess who said that. That's all. Is that how he said it? That's all, folks. Something like that. But they only have a presence on those social media sites. Amazing to me. You would think they would be on Pinterest, some more sites. No. They're keeping it just enough. Keep it just enough where you can hit a small, you can hit the section that you need, but you can focus. It's all about focusing the message on the platforms that matter the most. Find out where your brand matters the most. And I'm not saying it could just be social media, but find out where it matters the most. It can matter the most word of mouth. That can mean you going out networking. You're going out networking, meeting different people. Where does your brand matter the most? Pick 3 to 4 areas of where your brand matters the most, and you focus it there. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That's all they're using. For me personally, for Sell This Is, the Image Podcast, I'm using YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And that's it. That's all I'm using. I realized for myself, and it took me a while to realize that. So let me put it to you. It took me a while to realize, okay, what's my best avenue? I realized for the Image Podcast, the best avenue is Instagram. YouTube, also building that following up. I realized those things through what? Through researching, through just testing, through constantly going back to number 3. The more content you create, the better. Why not just so people can see, but so also you can see for yourself as you do research for your brand. Okay, what's the best avenue? What's the best search? Okay, I see I get a lot of hits. So I'm putting the same amount of content on this site as I'm putting on this site, but I'm getting more love on this site. Okay, I think I'm gonna focus more on this site. You're not gonna, that mean, hey. Number 2, each aspect of the brand matters. That doesn't mean you just drop off that site, but you're gonna, that's your heaviest site. So you're gonna strategize that site better. If you do better on Instagram than Twitter, you're gonna strategize your best stuff on Instagram a little bit more strategic than you would on Twitter. I mean, you're gonna strategize stuff on Twitter, but you're gonna still strategize to a more key tone on Instagram. You're gonna focus a little bit harder and deeper into Instagram, because that's where your focus is, where your spread is. And so understand, don't try to take on more than what your platter can fill. If don't, get a little bit on the plate, get a little bit, but don't fill it up too much. So the one you're waiting for, I know what you're waiting for. I gotta tone up the voice on them. I know what you're waiting for. You're waiting for the last one, right? You're waiting for the last one. Number 5. Engage with your audience. Engage with them. Talk to them. Talk about what's going on. Have hashtags. That respond off what they're talking about. Ask. The World Cup. One thing I learned from the World Cup is there was a hashtag. Once again, the hashtag. But there's a hashtag where fans can actually ask the players. They like, for one guy, Ryan McGowan. They asked that he had a hashtag that was Ask Ryan. So the fans got to ask him questions. Hey, that's a little something I might steal right there. I'm not even gonna lie. I like that. Ask the Image Podcast. But anyway, you can put out different hashtags that direct audience, that direct engagement with your audience. It's all about interaction. And I say this is probably one of the key things. All these things are key, but this is one of the main key things, because if you're not interacting, if you're not engaging with them, then people feel like you're who you talking to. Who can they talk to? That's one thing I've noticed about the World Cup. They're always engaging with many hashtags. Teams are talking, players are talking with the people. It's not just an event. Once again, it's an experience. Why is engaging with your audience major? Because it's an experience. The people have something to talk about now. As someone that does, okay, let's go to chefs. I'll go back to my chefs. You're cooking up, right? You're whipping it up. You're cooking, but you don't talk to the, you don't talk to the customers. You don't talk to them. They're like, oh man, the food's good, but man, the guy is sure shut off. But you're cooking, and then you talk to him. You ask him how the food is. You say, "Hey, how'd you like this? What do you think I should put a little bit more into? What do you think? What did you think about this right here? What do you think about these muffins? Or what did you think about, what did you think about this right here? This wrap." Now you're getting that engagement, because now it helps you as feedback. That's one thing I had to learn. That's one thing I'm working on now. I'm not perfect, babe. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. It's one thing I have to learn to work on is to engage with the audience, because you want to know feedback. It's one of the key things with the brands, because it helps build your feedback. It helps build what you need to know, what you need to get better on. And these are 5. I mean, we could talk all day about how the World Cup is just taking their brand to another maximum level. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you just listening to the Image Podcast. But I'm going to keep talking about this, though. Next week, I'm going to have a great episode. But once again, sellthesiz.com, Sell the Sizz Network is where you can listen to the Image Podcast. Not only the Image Podcast, but Wake Up Your Senses with Mind of a Warrior. She's putting out some fire for you to listen to, man. She is putting out some stuff that I really want you to go to. Go to sellthesiz.com, SELLTHE.SIZZ.com, sellthesiz.com. Go to blogs, go to Wake Up Your Senses, and read some of the stuff. I mean, she goes into great depth. I could just talk about her blog next. But definitely, I appreciate you listening. This is the host with the most. I appreciate you as always for listening. Anything else? Oh yeah, go to iTunes, subscribe to the Image Podcast. Go to TuneIn, go to SoundCloud, subscribe. I love y'all. Until next time, we out.